there's been some amazing speakers already here this evening, and I just want to take a look at our theme, but rather than the possibility of people, I want to focus really on the possibility of young people, and with a strong focus on business and a business viewpoint. And to put things into context, I think it's useful for me just to quickly run you through my story and the journey I've been on over the last 5 years. So to go back to 2006, I kind of finished school and I was looking at whether or not to go to university or whether to go to art college. I was quite a creative person. I kind of thought, shall I go to art college, because that's quite a fun route to go down, or shall I go down the academic route and be really kind of academic and go and do business studies? And for whatever reason, I ended up deciding to go and do business studies. So I left them home, went up to university, and very quickly was having loads of fun. It was very exciting. Had a huge student loan in my back pocket, and was intent on spending it in every Birmingham nightclub there was, and did it very well, and very quickly got into quite a lot of debt, but actually didn't achieve a great deal very quickly, because I'd, up until then, always put my heart and soul into things and been someone that's committed to get success and is a strong believer in putting the time in to get success. And it was just completely baffling, because I got there and I looked at this timetable and it was sort of saying that there's 8 hours of contact time a week. So I'm thinking, okay, so there's 8, 9, 10 hours in a day, and there's 5 days in a week, and 8 hours of those I'm going to actually be doing something productive and learning something. And it was all a bit of a nonsense, really, but everyone else was loving it, and I was getting really frustrated. I was like, this is ridiculous. I want to do something. I want to do something productive. I want to learn. I say I wanted to learn, but then when I was in the lecture halls, sitting in a big kind of lecture hall with 400 other people and someone at the front teaching me something vague about business management and double entry bookkeeping, which I all found very dull, but that it was kind of hopefully in the end going to be able to be used, and I might be able to apply it at some point. And I could never get out of my head this burning desire. It sounds a bit of a cliche, but it really was a burning desire to kind of get out and actually do something productive and run a business. That's what I'd wanted to do. So I came back to my hometown of Christmas of that year, and these thoughts just weren't going away. I was constantly trying to think of something that was going to get me out of there, because the fun had worn off, the novelty had worn off, and I thought, I'm not going to do this for 4 years, being £30,000 worth of debt, and probably I didn't know where it was going to lead, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I'm a strong believer that if you don't enjoy something and you're not enjoying it, then you should change and you should do something else. And that's exactly what I did. So I came back from university, and I decided that I was going to leave. I was going to do something different, but I didn't know what that something different was going to be. So I left university, didn't go back at Christmas, literally left all my stuff up there in my room and everything. And I was quite unhappy for a little while. And then I decided that I was going to look at what my skill sets were, which is what pretty much any business owner does when they launch a business. They look at what do they know about, and then they apply it to some market and try and make some money from doing that. And I looked at what I knew about, which was the town. I'd lived here all of my life, and I had some skills in graphic design. That was something that I was always quite interested in, and kind of advertising and creative sort of sector. And I was also quite interested in literature and journalism, that type of thing. So I sort of combined those three things, then looked at a market where I could actually do something with that. And at the time, the regional magazine market in Sevenoaks was quite weak. There's a lot of magazines around, but you'll probably see them yourself. They come through the door, they're wall-to-wall adverts, and they go in the bin. The whole thing's a waste of time. So I kind of thought, let's come up with an idea that's editorially led, a really exciting product where we can get engagement from the readers from the very outset, and therefore hopefully the advertisers will come on board and it will grow from there. So that's the product I came up with, that's the idea. And then I then launched that from my bedroom. Literally, my bed was there, my computer was there, and I was kind of doing this thing. And so 6 months later, 6 months of research and development got the thing off the ground. And 6 months later, I launched the first edition of the magazine. And it came off the press, and I looked at it, and I was really, really proud of it and excited by it all, as you would be. You kind of put 6 months of work into it, and you've got the finished product. It's a really nice feeling. That novelty quickly kind of diminished when I realized that I'd spent 6 months producing this monthly magazine, and I now was going to do the whole thing again, but in a month. And I kind of, this is not why I didn't think of that. I forgot about that. So I kind of sitting there in my bedroom and thought, right, okay, so let's get the next magazine done, and let's get on the phone and try and make some sales, and let's get the magazine designed and get it edited and written, sent to press again. Did that. Sort of 6 months later, we had I'd put a few editions out, and lots of people were giving good comments, and they were saying nice things about it, which was all great. But I was getting increasingly frustrated and kind of bogged down, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was that I was upset about and why. I'd done this good achievement, I'd left university, I'd done my own thing, but then I was kind of going backwards, and I was a little bit kind of frustrated. I didn't know where to go from there. So I thought that what it was the main problem, I thought I'd identified it, was was working in my room. So I thought, by being in my room, in here where I'm working, living, sleeping, doing everything in my room, this isn't healthy, it's not productive for anyone. Let's get out of my room and go somewhere else. So I found this little office. I say office, it was a barn basically, like a drafty room about a mile away from my house. And it was huge. Like it must have been, I reckon it's probably bigger than this whole stage, this office. And it was still just me on my own. So I walked in there, and my dad helped me kind of build this little desk. And I was literally trying to find things to put in this place to make it look more like office-y and more kind of make me feel like I was actually doing something productive. But no, I tried our best. But I next sort of found myself sitting there in this room, and it was a huge barn, and I was on my own. And I put a few more magazines out and realised that hadn't really solved the problem. And I was just in a drafty barn with mice running around, being freezing cold. I'd rather be in my bedroom, to be honest. Then something happened, and this is kind of what changed my viewpoint on business, the way business is done, and to a degree on the world. My business partner, who's now my business partner, had been my best friend for many years and was working up in the city but got made redundant. He came down, and we were having a chat one evening, and I said to him, look, to be honest with you, I'm just going to shut this thing down. I can make more money by working up in the city or going travelling, or do what normal 22-year-olds do, something a bit more exciting than sitting in a barn running a magazine that I kind of lost interest in, to be honest. He was like, no, it's got a good brand, people know about it, it's exciting, don't give it up now, don't just lose all of that time and investment in time, let's give it a go. So what happened then is we collaborated, and then within a few days, and then a few weeks, my whole life and my whole vision and the way I felt completely transformed just through that one collaboration with someone else. It was incredible to have someone to share frustrations with, someone to share ideas with, good ideas, bad ideas, someone to basically be a sounding board to ideas, and someone to share that journey with. And it very quickly transformed everything. So we started working, a few sort of weeks and months went by, and very quickly we needed some more people to help us. So we brought in an editor, brought in a designer, brought in a salesperson. So very quickly, I was like amazed. There's actually a little team of us, and this whole office kind of is looking quite good now. Like we've got someone sitting over there, and there's someone sitting over there. The phones are ringing, and it's all quite exciting. And that's what happened, and that grew and grew from there. And then we ended up getting so many of us. There's so many different desks that we were kind of building and knocking together on the weekends with MDF and putting them in. And we kind of got to breaking point, had to move out of there and move to a much bigger office. But that really is where everything changed, and everything got far more exciting when we had lots and lots of people working with us, sharing our own ideas. We weren't just kind of working blindly, and I just wasn't working on my own. I actually think that young people in business, generally, most people say that young people, they're not. The older you are, the wiser you are. The more experience you have in business or in anything, generally people think the better you are at it. I actually don't agree with that. I think that youthful naivety can sometimes be a really good thing, and you don't always have to, work your way up one step at a time, and you will get there bit by bit. You need to put the hours in, and you'll reach success one day. I actually don't think. I think that having a team of young people working together can actually create a supercharged team that's buzzing, bright, and more inspiring than any team of. It doesn't matter if you've got 100 years experience between you. In my view and in my experience, it actually means nothing. What you need is a bright team of people that are incredibly ambitious, that are all going in the same direction, that have good leadership and want to do stuff and want to make stuff happen. Good example of that. Today I was in a meeting at an event, and I was talking to this lady. Nice lady. She was just talking to me for a while, sort of having a chat, 5 minutes. And then at the end, she had this kind of puzzled look on her face the whole time. And then she sort of said at the end, "You look about 12. What are you doing here?" And I was like, I know I look about 12, But I'm actually really enjoying what I'm doing. And I went on to tell her, and she's only joking, but it just goes to show. Going back to kind of the whole experience thing as well. If you look at an organisation like the Rotary Club, for example, great organisation, about 1.2 million members around the world, thousands of organisations and groups that link to it, and they do a lot of outreach work and community engagement, ethical development, charity work, that type of thing. It's all good, but essentially what it is a group of retired professional men, and it was men right up until the 80s. Women weren't allowed to even be part of it, but it still generally is male-dominated, of professional older men that basically get together and they look backwards at their lives and what they've done, and they become nostalgic, and they kind of sit there and congratulate themselves over whiskey and country clubs about how amazing their business career once was. But surely isn't success more about the actual journey and getting there, and the success is doing it rather than achieving it, I think, personally. So I'm having more fun doing it than I think I'd ever get once I sit there and sort of, I would never want to be someone that sits there and kind of looks back and goes, wow, I was once successful and it was all very fun. So Rotary clubs are not really something that I would want to be involved with. Going back to some of like our staff and more kind of the university side of things, I actually think that there's something that I kind of call the career conveyor belt. People go to school, they go to school, then they go to secondary school, they do GCSEs, and then they start to funnel you. The education system in the UK starts to funnel you. So if you're interested in science, it goes this way, and then mathematician, or he's a really good scientist or mathematician, whatever it is, and then you do your A-levels and you get funned even more. You do less subjects, but you do more of the same thing. And then you go to university, and it's kind of like, right, well, you've done your GCSEs, you've got to do your A-levels now. You've got to. Done your A-levels. Don't even think about not going to university. You've got to go to university. I mean, there's even been government schemes recently that are encouraging more and more people to go to university. But what's actually happened there is that we've now got hundreds of thousands of people going to university, but actually, is it really worth it? Are they really getting anything from it? Of course, if you have an English degree from Oxford, amazing, the world's your oyster, you can do anything. But what if you have a mediocre degree from some rubbish university in the middle of England that no one's even heard of the town? Is that really going to help you get a job? No, it's not, because it's the worst graduate recruitment market in decades that we've ever seen in the UK. It's the worst financial climate that there's ever been in the UK. And I have kind of experienced this on the cold face of things at the moment, because there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and I mean hundreds, that are applying for not jobs, internships at my company. And this is one way that we're kind of trying to combat this and trying to do our little bit to help people, bearing in mind of our own experiences of, me and my business partner have not gone to university, so we're kind of quite championing it, really. And a good example of that, 16-year-old kid that joined us 3 years ago now, was at Wilderness School, rubbish at school, failed everything, didn't want to go to, his one option was to go to West Kent College to do some horrible course that he really didn't want to do, he's just being pushed into it by his parents. So we said to him, do you want to come into our office and work for us for a month, unpaid, we won't pay you a penny, we haven't got any budget to pay you a penny, but if you prove that you're really good, I promise you we'll give you a job. And it was kind of a risk, and his parents said, you must be joking, they're jokers, don't do that, I mean, that's not going to work. You need to go, if you're going to get a job, go and get a job at Sainsbury's where at least you know you're going to get your money. Anyway, he ignored them and he came and worked with us. And within his first month, he sold sort of, I don't know, a couple of £1,000s worth of sales himself. He generated those leads and got those bits of business. And then we gave him a job, exactly as we'd promised. We gave him a job, and then he's gone on to be incredibly successful. And through collaborating with our team of people that we've put in place, and him kind of growing those teams and being involved in the business on an everyday basis, over those 2.5 years, he has become something that is just an absolute transformation of what walked in to our office on that first day for an unpaid internship. And he has learned far more, and I have learned far more than I could possibly, or he could have possibly ever learned at university or at college. And so the moral of that story and the running theme there is learning through doing is actually a lot more powerful than just sitting there in a room learning because you don't learn. Learning through actions, far more powerful. I lie awake at night thinking a lot about my business, and I think a lot about it all the time. It's always ticking over my head. Of course it is, because it consumes you when you run your own business, as a lot of you may have found. But I don't sit there getting consumed by statistics or, oh my God, we haven't got enough sales, or how are we going to hit that target, or I'd love to buy this amazing piece of equipment, but how are we going to get the money to do it? I actually don't think about that very much at all. more and more so, certainly over the last year to 18 months, all that I'm consumed by is actually my people, my team, my staff. That's all I care about, it's all I think about, and it stresses me out unbelievably. And other days it empowers me and makes me feel incredible, and it makes them feel incredible, and it stresses them out. But it's the only thing that I ever think about. And basically, business isn't about anything other than people, really, in my view. People are the heart of every business, and people are at the heart of any organisation or foundation or group anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter what you're doing or how you're doing it. People are at the heart of everything. So to kind of summarise things, through collaboration, great things happen. And there's better tools now to collaborate than there have ever been. Look at the recent social networks that have launched in the last 5 years. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Amazing ways of collaborating. Amazing ways to share ideas and for people to come together and get better through learning together. That's really helping things. Learning through doing, much better to be actually doing something and learn that way rather than sit there and learn. And also youth and young people, they're incredibly powerful. You put those three together, young people with amazing energy and drive, collaboration on ideas, and when you put them together, entrepreneurship as well, they're amazing. Thanks very much.